Hello, YouTube. This is Old Sasquatch here, and I have an important message for you all. This message in here is called America's War on Christ. Right now, we have, in this COVID-19 outbreak, churches are under attack. You have churchgoers getting arrested and fined. You have churches that are being broken into. And it's sad. But we were warned in Revelation about this. And not just that. But this has been coming for a very long time. A very long time. This began in the 1840s when the churches, the Protestant churches, had split. Yes, they had split due to infighting because after the Revolutionary War, America took a spiritual downfall, as you could say. And the churches had been split. In 1861, the Confederate government decided they could fix that problem. They would fix it and bring them back. And so they teamed up with the ABS, the American Bible Society. And they basically started that in Georgia. And at the time, Lincoln had made the Bible contraband during the war, meaning no one could get it. No one. And so the Confederate government had the Confederate Army start the Third Great Awakening, known as the Great Confederate Revival. And during these revivals, it was over 5 years. It started in the Army of Northern Virginia and then eventually the entire South. You had pastors, as in chaplains. You had Confederate generals leading this. And they were all doing it for the gospel of Jesus Christ. They were doing it for that. The South was a Christian country, and they fought because they were invaded. And they were not going to give up the gospel. They were not going to give up their hope and faith in Jesus Christ. They fought for that, and they fought for independence, especially after being invaded. And at the Battle of Manassas, at the very first part of the war, the first major battle, is when the battle flag, St. Andrew's Cross, also known as the Confederate battle flag today, got its name, it's got its original origin from. And it got the name after this. Right during the Battle of Manassas, aka Bull Run, the Confederate Army had been confused because their flag, the stars and bars, which basically looked kind of like this, except it had the circle of stars. It had 7, representing the 7 states. But anyway, on the battlefield, in the field of smoke, the flags looked the same. And the Confederates looked at each other and said, "I can't see which flag is ours." And then a little puff of wind and smoke had pushed it away, and there they could see it, the stars and bars. And then the Confederates said, "The day is ours. Attack, attack." And during that, the Yankees had dropped their guns and ran all the way across back over to the Potomac. And then General Beauregard and Christian men of the South and Colonel Miles at the time, of South Carolina, proposed that they could have a new flag that was nothing like the enemy's. And so they had proposed, at first, the Latin cross, but then decided they would use the cross of St. Andrew, the Christian cross of St. Andrew. Now, what's special about this flag is, well, it's a Christian flag. And St. Andrew was the first disciple of Jesus Christ. And he was crucified on an X-shaped cross in Patras, Greece. And he felt he wasn't worthy to be crucified in the manner like Christ was. So instead of having his hands nailed, they tied him and they put him on that cross. For 3 days he preached to the people. Then after the third day, they realized his teachings were true. They cut him off that cross and he fell down dead as a martyr and the first disciple of Jesus Christ. And he became known as the saint patron of Scotland and Russia. Yes, I said Russia and Scotland. Now, you got to remember this. The people of the South in the 1800s were majority either Scotch or Scotch-Irish. And so the battle flag had that because of that. Because of the Christian symbolism in it. This battle flag was also used during the entire war, but also in the Great Confederate Revivals. You see, the Christian Confederacy, and yes, they were Christian, their Constitution explicitly evoked God in a very holy manner, unlike the United States Constitution, where it only implies freedom of religion, when in reality the Confederate Constitution said Almighty God. And the Confederate Army, they brought the churches together in these revivals. The gospel was moving throughout not only just parts of the South, but the entire. This movement was of pure devotion and by God Himself. This movement saved Christianity in the South. And I can tell right now it's coming again, my friends. It really is. And why is that? Because look at what's happening now. History is repeating itself. It really is. You have, right now, tyrannical governors. They want to close down the churches. They want to make it illegal to even go, etc. Completely wanting to basically cause spiritual warfare to that person. And yes, my friends, we are at war. They have declared war on the gospel. They have declared spiritual war. They are using spiritual warfare on us. This is the devil's work. It really is. This not only right after the 1860s. Then we had the 1900s, which a lot happened then, and then 2015 was the big issue, which was gay marriage, when it was actually passed, and it wasn't even supposed to be passed. Why am I? And I'm wondering why I'm saying that. Majority of the South, 80%, voted on it not being allowed. Yes, voted it not being allowed at all. And so they ignored that, and the United States federal government overruled them. And what did they do? They forced them to accept it by a 3 million vote above them, which was wrong. And it forced them to accept it. It forced them. And after that, it caved a pathway, a very satanic pathway. Right after that, after about a month later, attacking the battle flag, the Christian cross of St. Andrew, then eventually demonizing all of Southern Christian heritage, then they began forcing us to accept transgender bathrooms, etc. They forced that on us. Then they forced basically the children to listen to homosexuality in schools, etc. They forced all of that. They forced it down our throats. And I'm telling you, this is an all-out war by them. They don't want you praying. They don't want you doing that. That's why they tried to make it where it's illegal to pray in school, because they want that gone. They do. That's why they forced the LGBT system and drag queen story hour in schools and public libraries. That's why they did that. Because they don't want that. They don't. And it's sad. It is honestly disturbing and sad that we have let it fall this far. Then you have people wanting to kill children, etc. Basically telling it's a clump of cells. When even in the Bible it says that I knew you in the womb. Meaning, when you consent, when you have that baby inside you, it's murder if you kill it. There's no other way. They have forced this evil way of life on us, forcing us to tolerate and accept it. And now, people were too stupid, too brainwashed to listen to the warnings. What happened now, after the Colorado incident of the gay wedding cake controversy, forcing gay Christians, the Supreme Court forcing them to bake it? And it gets even worse than that, people. That was just the beginning. That really was. What is happening now? An all-out war on God by the government. And it's not just the Democrats, it's all of them. It is all of them. They don't care about you. They care about money. They care about money and nothing else. They really do. It is honestly disturbing, the world we live in. And then now you have all of these, many churches now are now accepting sin. They are accepting, yes, as I said, sin, by putting the gay flag in there, right beside the Christian flag. You are not a Christian if you support that. You're not. Revelation 2:2 even says that. It even calls them a false apostle, as in a false follower of Christ. You cannot accept it. Christ preached against it. Yes, he walked with them. Yes, he walked with everyone. But he did not accept it nor encourage it. And these people are doing both. They are accepting and forcing us to encourage it. It is disturbing. But this is the world we live in. We're living on hell on earth. We are living in hell on earth. I want y'all to think about that for a minute. When it was actually normal. When you did not have this massive call, just a major attack upon God. Just think about that for a minute. Think about that. That's how far we've fallen. That is how far. And it's sad that we have let this happen. That we have allowed sin to control our lives. This is spiritual warfare. And the only way to survive this is through Christ. Even Philippians 4:13 says this, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. And then Romans 1:16, I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God, the salvation of everyone who believes. We have nothing to fear. We don't. This COVID-19 nonsense that's going on right now, of them basically, attacking the church and all that just because of that is nonsense. It really is. In fact, many people now would rather go to church, and even if it kills them, they'd rather be in that than this sinful world. And the truth is, if you're a follower of God, you will be there. If you're an actual follower. Since it is a lot better than this, where there is no sin, and there is no pure attack upon God. It is paradise. It really is. And this flag behind me as well, in case y'all are wondering, is a Christian symbol as well. Robert E. Lee headquarters flag. Now, Robert E. Lee was a Christian and also a Confederate general. That flag, the stars, represent the Ark of the Covenant. Yes, the Ark of the Covenant. Yes, but he was a Christian man, and so was Stonewall Jackson, and many of them. Many of them. I mean, I just can't believe that so many people have let sin ruin their life and control them. I have no words for that, but I will say this, my friends. Pray for them. Help them find God. Because right now is the perfect opportunity to help people find God. And why is that? Because right now, yes, right now is the perfect time when everything is beginning to happen. Because we are in a part of the end of time called the beginning of sorrows, which is also described in Revelation. But anyways, have a blessed day, and God bless you all. Dio Vindice, and my friends, don't lose faith in the gospel, because if you do, may God have mercy upon your soul, because it will destroy you. And to anyone who needs prayer requests, etc., feel free to message my Instagram at Virginian Revivalist, or message my other account on Instagram at defend_Appalachia. Have a blessed day, y'all, and God bless you all. Dio Vindice.